Hello, Trish here from Fiber Optics Knits. I'm going to show you how to do an ICord tab. If you've ever done a garter tab on a shawl, the ICord tab is very, very similar, with the exception of one small twist. The final stitches that are picked up on the cast-on edge are picked up after you turn your work for your first row. This prevents a visible twist or break in your ICord edge. For the purpose of this tutorial, I am going to do my ICord tab in the same manner as is in the Beam Me Up shawl. So before I get started, I am going to tie myself a slip knot. And then I am going to long tail cast on 3 stitches. So to get my I-cord going, I am going to slide all 3 of those stitches back to my left-handed needle. And we'll do a little bit of rearranging with the yarn just to tighten those stitches up. And now that I've got them back on the left-hand needle, I am going to knit 3. And it can be a little awkward getting started since you're pulling the yarn from the opposite side. So we're going to knit 3, and then you're going to slide your stitches back to your left-hand needle. And I usually like to tighten it up just a little bit before I get started, not too much though. And that's row 1. Then we're going to repeat that process 8 more times for a total of 9 I-cord rows. So there's 2, and I'm sliding them back, and here's 3, so I'm finishing up my 9th I-cord row. And if you count on my needle, you can see I have 9 stitches here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Instead of sliding my stitches back to my left-hand needle like I would to make another row, I am going to hold my I-cord at a 90-degree angle from my right-hand needle, kind of like a little flagpole. Whee! And what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave these 3 stitches on my needle here, and I am going to pick up and knit 9 stitches, 1 in each one of these I-cord stitches. So here we go. We're going to pick up 9 stitches. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So we now have 12 stitches on our needle, and see how nice that I-cord looks. Now, before we get started with our pattern, we're going to turn. Normally in a garter, you would go ahead and pick up 3 more stitches along this side, but before we do that for our purposes, we're actually going to turn the work and pick them up from the other side. And this will create that nice, clean, continuous I-cord edge that looks just so beautiful. So what you're going to do is you're going to make sure to make this yarn is in the back. And we're going to pick up 3 stitches from that I-cord cast on. So I like to do this just with 1 loop, and it really doesn't matter which 3 loops you pick up here, as long as you've got 3. So I'm going to go in and just put my needle in this first loop right here. Here's 1. Here's 2. That one's a little tight, so I'm just going to do a little finagling to get it on there. Or you know what, that one's a little too tight, so we're just going to find a different loop. I like to find just the 3 easiest loops. So this one looks good. Here's 2. And I'm going to use my right hand needle for the assist here. Here's 3. So I've added these 3 loops onto my right hand needle. And then I am going to knit into them for the beginning, of my first row of the pattern. And I know it's a little bit hard to see right out of the gate here, but that's going to create a nice continuous I-cord edge down there once this end is woven in. And here's another view of that nice continuous I-cord edge once that first row is completed. And look how nice that looks. It looks completely seamless. There is no wonky edge there. And that is how you do an I-cord tab cast on. You are ready to get started with the rest of your shawl.